Welcome to the Ultimate Fancast, where fans are the star of the show. Each week we explore the epic co-created Battle Bunnies franchise from legendary artists Frank and Krista Linatra and the team at Junkbox Studios. Ultimate fans join BBS, Lord L, and Brian as they dive deep into the extraordinary world of the Battle Bunnies. Plus, we'll be your guides and take you backstage with the creators and actors who are captivating family audiences worldwide. Are you ready to meet this week's Ultimate Fan? It's time to fan up and enjoy the show.
Welcome back, everybody, for another installment of the Ultimate Fancast. We do have an Ultimate Fan here for you guys today. It's a bit controversial because we're going to have two of them on stage today, but I'll let it slide for this one time. You may know him from just hearing from his voice. He's got his own channel. He's got his own YouTube channel. He hosts poker events. It's Lord Galaban himself. I knew it had a bit controversial. We got the two lords up here, so I don't know if the internet's going to break having this much royalty up in the space. But man, it's a pleasure to have you here, and it's going to be awesome to hear about your journey, because you are here for a totally different reason to a lot of other people as well. Like you're very much poker driven. You're a master with the numbers. You're a master at what you do. So it's definitely cool to have you here, and we're definitely interested to hear your journey.
Thank you very much, Lord. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me on the podcast. I am definitely proud to be here. Thank you for asking me on.
Yeah, we put the lords on one side and the bees on the other. We're very excited you could join us. Before we kind of dive in, we typically just kind of ask, like, when did you get introduced to the Battle Bunnies? Like, what was your first introduction to the community?
The actual first introduction was through the poker, and I came over. Crypto Al actually invited me over. So did Tank, Sarah. There was quite a few people that were part of the Gangsta Kongs, and I was part of that community before I came over here, and I was hosting poker tournaments over there, and I hosted them for probably eight months over there, where we were giving away NFTs. We were playing on Poker Now. I was running their entire poker community for the Gangsta Kongs. I was also doing it with the Pocket Cows, and then on my own, I was giving away stuff. So I had a very good start to actually doing poker, and then the Gangsta Kongs died, and I took about 2 months off, and Crypto Al came and hit me up in December whenever the Dead Poker Society actually started. But I was like, nah, I need a break from poker because of everything that happened over there, and I just don't want to do any broadcasting right now. And then in February, he started hitting me up again, saying, hey, there are free tournaments that you can join into. Tank's over here, Sarah, all the gang, Crypto Daniel, and everybody. So I joined in March. I want to say it was March 26th, if I'm not mistaken, because I was actually looking at my first date just a little while ago. So I've officially been with the Dead Poker Society now for over 1 year. And then as I got to know everybody in the Dead Poker Society is how I came to find out just about the Battle Bunnies. And then I started looking into the Battle Bunnies and talking with Frank and talking with Krista and Aaron and everybody else. And I spent about a good 3 to 4 months, I want to say, getting used to everybody in the Dead Poker Society, which I actually was in there for over a month before I played in any games, because I wanted to see exactly what it was about. And then as I started playing in the poker games, if I'm not mistaken, 2 out of the first 4 games that I joined into, I actually won. And I was very, very blunt with everybody in the community. I explained to them, hey, I am extremely good with mathematics. I've been playing poker for over 40 years of my life, 30 years as what I would consider a professional, because whenever I go up up to the casinos, that's whenever I whip out my bankroll. And I don't play for small stakes. Whenever I sit down at a poker table, I'm sitting down usually with about 1,500 in a chips, just to sit down there. So I got to play, show do, got to be friends with Aaron. And on the back end with Aaron, I was talking with Aaron about, how I do the poker broadcasts. And I told him that I wanted to see how everything went with the Dead Poker Society, because whenever I joined, it had only been about 3 months actually working. So I waited just to see if it was actually going to take off. And yeah, it did. And as I noticed that we started selling the NFTs as the subscription instead of just giving them away, a lot of the people that wanted just the free poker, they started falling by the wayside. Well, I enjoy the fact that we are playing for actual prize pools. It is wonderful. It is beautiful, because it's a good stepping stone to become one of the major players in the poker scene. And of course, everybody knows that Frank and Krista and most of the Battle Bunnies play in the Dead Poker Society as right as well. Granted, there are certain people that stick just with the Battle Bunnies and just stick with poker, and then the Heroes of Herath and the Art of Nick Taylor. But the whole community itself works together. And then, it was probably 2 or 3 episodes, Frank got to talking to me, because Frank found out that I love to play Magic, Pokemon Go, Yu-Gi-Oh! He also found out that whenever I was a teenager living back in Orlando, Florida, that I owned a baseball card and comic book shop right outside of the Naval Training Center. So that's where I cut my teeth in the trading card game, in comic books and stuff like that, because I've always loved comic books. I've been a collector ever since the 60s, whenever I was born. So it's something that just came natural to me. And that's how I got to know Frank. And Frank was like, you need to be into this game. And he tried to get me into whenever they were first getting it started and up and going there for Richmond. And I still wasn't quite ready to actually jump face first into it, which I probably should have then, because I could have gotten a lot of the first edition collectibles. But, I've got so many collectibles in this house that it's insane to begin with. And like I've told Frank multiple times, I have to pick and choose what I do. I can't do every single thing. So that's how I first got to know the Battle Bunnies, which I understand that that's kind of a roundabout answer, but that's how I got into the Battle Bunnies.
And it gives people listening
a Battle Bunny holder now.
That's awesome, man. It gives people like listening too, like, you don't have to be in it for every aspect of the bunnies. There is something for you, whether it even is just playing poker in the tavern, or if it's the art itself. Like, there is definitely something for everyone, and there is a lot to take on. So it's depending on what you're doing in life and what other projects you got. You'd love to dive in, but you literally do not have enough time in the day. Maybe you might have a little bit more than us, Galaban, because of your sleeping pattern, as we've just worked out. But like having that, it is good to hear. But we've definitely loved having you commentate like all the games, and it's good for someone like me that doesn't know poker as such. You don't physically tell us what to do, but you'd be like, look, Lord, I don't know if I'd be doing that, and just listening to you guys in there, it really helps people like me know what to go for.
And this is Lord telling, he's like, yeah, I don't really know poker that much, but didn't you finish second in the DPS tournament in Richmond? Like,
I thought about it. I came second in one of the satellite games, and not only like Hoplite himself beat me, so that was pretty good. I watched that. And then to back it up the next night, I squared off with Drywall, and the emotions that were going through my head, the fact that I took out. I was in contention with Drywall, right? And I took out Creature, and I took out Aaron, and John, and everyone. Like that, I was beside myself just there with winning, just playing the game. So I think I was going to say, no pun intended, but I bluffed my way through. Like, I don't know how to play. I bluffed the shit out of that game. So I don't know if it was beginner's luck or like what, but it was I bluffed that one for sure.
I don't know if he's bluffing or not, because before the tournament, before Richmond, Lord Galaban, he was telling everybody he was playing sloppy online, so everybody would think that he didn't know what he was doing.
He did say that.
For the
He
live
did say
tournament, he turns it up,
I
and he
think-
finished.
He was a
I think it's
statue too.
Galaban, you can back me up here. Maybe just some people
No
can play in
emotion in his
person.
face.
No, but like maybe some people can play in person better than they can online because maybe you can see through me too much online, but at least maybe that's what it is. And in person, I'm a lot better because I don't know, because of my weird mannerisms or something, just throws everyone off. I don't know. Help me on this one, Galaban.
Sometimes being bad is actually good whenever it comes to a poker table, because you are going to do things that other people don't expect you to do. You're going to play the 8-7 under the gun, or from the middle position, you're not going to raise with a pocket pair of aces or a pocket pair of kings. You're not going to 3-bet. Rarely would I expect you to do a 3-bet. Like if, say, the blinds are out there and the under the gun person raises 3x, you're not going to bump at 5x. You're going to call. So there are certain things that I could put somebody like you on, but then again, you might do the complete weird thing. Like I said, playing. Let's say you might play the 2-3 suited under the gun just because you want to play it and not even think about it. which
I play
I'm quite
hands.
sure that
I
you've
play
heard.
terrible hands just to play terrible hands, and then I show everybody my cards so that they're like, "Oh my god,
Mhm.
that's terrible." And then I get like pocket aces,
and then you'll
like,
tighten up.
on them. I
Yeah.
sit on them, and then I just trap.
Yeah, one of the things that I
anyway.
first did, if you guys will remember, whenever I first came into the Dead Poker Society, Aaron asked me just to teach those 2 classes where I had that full table where I was still doing it right on the Poker Now, and it was a 2-hour broadcast where I was going over all the fundamentals of good solid poker play, and it is actually up on the YouTube, where I posted both of those up, and one's an advanced class and one's the basic class. So if we find people that are out there that don't know how to play poker, but that want to learn how to play poker, send them over to the Dead Poker Society YouTube and let them know that there's a video there that's a 2-hour video where I start out explaining everything from the positioning to the different places on the table so that you know what they're called and stuff like that. Those are things that I love to do. I absolutely enjoy teaching and getting people that want to learn and actually becoming better poker players.
And I think we need to get some more of that happen. I don't know what I missed because I had to go grab a charger. But my wife's been hitting me up to teach her, and I don't really even feel like I know how to play myself. And I was like,
Lord.
so this is perfect, man. Maybe we should set up another one coming up because she wants to get more involved in the DPS, but she doesn't know
the video.
how to play.
Lord,
well, I'll do that.
Have her watch that basic video. That's a 2-hour video.
Wow.
And then
awesome.
have her then just have her watch the final tables where I broadcast. Have her watch both of the videos where I won while I was broadcasting, showing my cards, so that she can see the betting that I was doing, because I talked about why I was betting the way that I was doing it, why I was doing everything that I was doing. And you can see my cards. You can see the flop, you can see the cards, and it's a master's class in how to play poker and how to win a poker tournament, because I won 2 of them while broadcasting my cards.
Wow.
So they're there.
That's awesome.
Brian, I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Is that on the DPS YouTube channel?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is under. Awesome. It is under the videos. It is not under the live section. I am starting to add more stuff onto the YouTube as we go along. I've actually got both of these shorts that Frank made up up on the Shorts channel, and then my son is actually learning how to produce stuff, and I have him cutting all of the videos, and we are cutting out all of the winning hands from all the Friday nights, all the Saturday nights, all the poker at the taverns, and then all of the other games, and we're going to make 4 compilation videos. One for the winning hands on the Friday nights, one for the winning hands on the Saturdays, and then one for the poker at the tavern. And it's just going to be the final hands so that everybody can see the hand.
So how many folks do we have that are DPS holders and Battle Bunnies holders? Is it 42? I heard. Did I see that? 42?
47?
47.
Was it 47 or 42? I wasn't quite sure.
Because we had a game today in the Battle Bunnies Discord, or it's a tavern, right? Which I love that.
Yeah. It was the tavern game.
I think we were at the same table too at some point.
There was 23 entrants today.
23. That's pretty good.
And next week we are guaranteed to have at least one more because John is now a holder. He bought Battle Bunny number 1206.
The Ghost Bunny, right? Is it a Ghost Bunny?
He picked up the Ghost Bunny.
Yeah,
he actually asked me which one would be better, and I explained to him that with the Ghost Bunny, he was going to get a card instead of with the Euligans, where we don't know when the cards are going to be coming out, but at least you have a Ghost Bunny. And he was like, okay. So I upsold him. Instead of a Euligan, he got a Ghost Bunny instead.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, no,
it's great. I mean, it's going to open up all those channels and whatever for him, like the utility is so much. I mean, it's the same, right? Euligan and Ghost, but Ghost, I mean, there's the hidden aura about them that's pretty awesome.
Well, one of the good things with that being is that John is basically the head of the Green Visor Gang. And there are so many people that are playing in the Green Visor Gang games that we could get over with the Dead Poker Society, because the games really do not bounce into each other. So we could literally fuse both of those entire genre, both of them, Dead Poker Society with the Green Visor Gang. What I would like to see is us to have like a competition just in between both of us, and have one giant game where we give out prizes to the highest Green Visor Gang, the highest Dead Poker Society, and then take the top 5 just from both of the projects, or maybe the top 5 from one project and the top 4 from another project, or even like the top 9, and just have a two table battle, top 18, kind of like how we do the strip poker, and have it, Dead Poker Society versus Green Visor Gang, and then give away prizes to both communities and have the prizes from both communities coming in. So that'd be a great way just to really open up the Dead Poker Society to the Green Visor Gang. And maybe there's some people that are in the Dead Poker Society that don't play over at the Green Visor Gang that would like more games, like Jake, Stretch, those guys that love to play all the time, Triple J, those guys could easily go over there and play as well because they're good enough.
Awesome.
Yeah, man, and I love the fact the way Dead Poker Society was created, because I remember when Aaron first came over to the Battle Bunnies, he was like, well, what are we all going to do now while we're waiting for Frank and Krista to do all this art, and what are we going to do when this is all happening? Because obviously there's always still so much going on with the bunnies, but we all seem to be still here, so we all wanted to do more, and I remember that's how it was created, and that's why there is that big cohesion with us, because Battle Bunnies is Dead Poker, and Dead Poker is the bunnies in a sense, because we 100% support each other with everything that we do because of the people, like the everyone that's in the bunnies, everyone that's in the Dead Poker, your vibe attracts your tribe, even if you aren't even fully in the bunnies every single day. It's that same thing. And obviously that's how you come about too. So it just goes to show, over time, what we've been creating here with Dead Poker, with the bunnies, the cohesion is just perfect.
Yeah, and Dead Poker's even beyond just like poker. They've got the dead squares. Like I was talking about how I was excited about my Purdue Boilermakers making it to the national championship game.
Congratulations.
That's a big deal. They're going to be playing tomorrow night. We're recording this on Sunday, but they'll be playing on Monday, April 8th for the national championship. That's like the first time in since 1969 that Purdue's made
exactly
it.
1969. I was about to say that.
It's been a long time. It was 44 years since they made it to the Final Four, so there's been a serious drought. So I'm excited about that. I didn't realize that Aaron was running a dead squares on the March Madness stuff. Like I would have totally got in on that. I just
Krista had 2 of the Final Four teams.
Yeah, that's what she was saying. She's got Purdue.
Yeah.
Did she have Alabama or
she had Alabama too, I think.
She had Alabama. Okay.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, that's amazing.
I could be wrong.
I know that Hulk has UConn because he said that I said I'm really rooting for Krista because obviously I'm a Purdue alum. I'm a big fan, and I said I probably Drywall or Rather or AJ have the UConn one, but no offense to them. And then Hulk was like, "No, I've got it." So
well, that's the name you forgot, right? So he's in that mix too.
Is he in that mix of people that's occasionally?
I had BYU and nothing like.
BYU. Yeah, but no, I mean that's what I love about DPS is there's so many different games. Like it's not just poker. So people like me who don't play poker regularly, or at all, you can jump into DPS and you can do other things. There's other games that Aaron and the rest of the team have put together for people that are in the community. So that's cool.
Yeah, just the different games is it's amazing because we have the strip poker, we have the poker at the tavern, we got the head-to-head games on the Monday, then you've got just the Tuesday regular games, but then the all interfold, which as much as I hate them games, I hate them. I absolutely hate them. But I do understand that there are people that do love them. And it is something for everyone, and that's what makes it good, because you've got the founders tournaments, then you've got all of the other ones that are all added in. It is phenomenal what he's doing, and I can't believe that he's doing it almost all by himself, because at some point we are going to get big enough to where he's going to have to start parsing it out to people. He's going to have to get people hired. Well, the same thing goes with what we're doing with the YouTube, and then you guys have your podcast. If the Dead Poker Society becomes even half as big, let's say that they reach full tilt level, where we have 1,000 people playing at a time. Do you think I'm going to be able to handle all of the broadcasts all by myself? No, there's no way. So, we're going to have to scale up as it gets bigger, but for right now, I would say until we hit maybe a consistent 150 people in every single tournament, we really don't have to worry about the scale up. But then Frank and Krista, they got to worry about the same thing, because like I was talking about earlier, if the game scales up like it should, there's going to be a time probably in the next 6 to 18 months where it's going to become impossible not to have a headquarters, not to have an actual production.
Well, you've seen it now with the bunnies, Lord Galaban. You've seen it now where, every week, every month, we're getting more people on board. There's more staff members creating, like the King's Court is huge now, and it's just going to be more and more to come. And I just want on a quick side note, I just wanted to say, if you are listening, you are watching, you haven't heard of the Dead Poker Society, definitely check them out. And I want you to tag in their general something to do with an all-in or fold question for Lord Galaban. So tag Lord Galaban, everyone, if you're listening right now, because as you see, he hates it, but he loves poker. So this is going to be the good one, because he's going to be gritting his teeth when he tells you, because he's going to want to tell you the info, but you don't like it. So.
Well, folds are for people like me, right? Like people that don't know what they're doing, and like, hey, you play what you got,
And what's even funny is that I actually won one of the first all-inner folds, if you guys will remember. I actually won the weekly all-inner fold. And I was just like, oh, God.
Nice. You have to wait a week before you're like, I don't want to do that. Or I don't like that. How did you get into poker? What was your first big match?
Wow. So do we want to start at the beginning with how I got into poker, or do we want to go to where I became an actual poker player with other people?
Let's speed that up. No.
We kind of want a little bit, but in a 15-minute segment.
2 months old.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Well, close. It actually started whenever I was 3 years old. Okay. I am a Navy brat. I was born in Africa to begin with. Okay. I am an overseas baby. And my mom and my dad played cribbage all of the time with the other people on the base there in Kenitra. Well, my mom loves playing cribbage. Okay. So as a baby, I started reading at the age of 1.5. I started doing mathematics at the age of 2. I started reading newspapers at the age of 3. I started playing cribbage at the age of 3 because it was numbers. I loved it. I love the cards. And I have vivid memories of actually counting 15-2, 15-4, a run is 3, a double run is 8, doing those things with the cards, playing with my mom. And it was helping out my mathematics because I had to add, I had to subtract, I had to multiply with the runs and the double runs if you've ever played at cribbage. So that's where I started playing. And then, of course, I have 2 uncles that are only 14 and 17 years older than me. No, you know what? They were 14 and 15 years older than me because my mom is only 17 years older than me. So you've got those things going on. My mom's side of the family, they're all hicks and hillbillies. Well, what do they like to do? They like to play cards. Of course, my dad's a Navy man. He likes to play cards. So I had cards my entire life growing up. So I was playing cribbage from the time that I was 3 until I'm still playing cribbage. I play it all the time on my phone. So I got into cribbage. I started playing bridge. I started playing gin rummy. As a 10-year-old, I was competing in gin rummy tournaments. I was playing poker the entire time, but it was house poker. And anybody that's ever played house games know there's all sorts of different variations. You've got 5-card stud, 7-card stud. You've got Texas Hold'em. You play Mexican Sweat. There's, the one where it's the 7-card no peak, things like that. So I've been playing my entire life, literally. I started playing poker for money in my teenage years whenever I was in high school. I used to run a poker game in high school with the football players, the basketball team, a few shady things, because back in the 80s, we had fantasy football back in the 80s, but it was all through the USA Today, and everybody kept a notebook. You had a notebook like this where you would write down all the stats. You would write down what people had what people at lunchtime on a Wednesday. We would be doing the auction for the players for that coming weekend, and these are things that I did. At the same time that I was collecting baseball cards, I was collecting football cards, basketball cards, collecting comic books. You want to hear a sad story? My first wife was my high school sweetheart, and when we got married, she made me sell my entire comic book collection.
What?
I did it because I had been with her for 4 years, and she said it was time to grow up and time to raise a family. So I sold my comic book collection at the age of 19. I would have had millions of dollars. I had a Detective Comics number 27 where I have been called twice by Soothby's because I am on the list of owners of that comic book. Last year, Detective Comics number 27, the one that I own, sold for $2.8 million. One comic book.
Man.
I have given away fortunes in my life in between my baseball cards and comic books. But like I was telling you guys, these are things that I've done in my life. I've lived a full
But that's why
life.
it was first wife, Galaban, because your new wife was understandable of your collection.
No good.
Well, let's
Fourth time's the
fast
charm.
forward. Okay.
Fourth
So
time's the
4
charm,
lots of
I don't
comic
know.
books gone.
Yeah. I at one point held.
What is that?
Comic books online. Like I'm the
If you
Marvel
look at
comics.
Brian, I am quite sure that you've heard of Heritage Auctions down in Dallas, Texas.
I think so. Yeah.
I actually do some of the consulting work for them, grading comic books.
Oh, nice.
So if they have any questions, whether or not it has the proper provenance, like some people like to say, oh, well, I own that book. Well, let's go back and see what the provenance shows, because it was minted here. There was this many copies, and some of the copies there are some limited editions. Like, let's just take Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the first one. A lot of people like to say that they have one of the first editions of that comic book. There was only 5,000 of them ever made, and the original printing was all in black and white. So people that come out with one of the green copies, that was a third printing, was the green copy of the Eastman and Laird's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the cover. Because if you look it up, you'll see one that's a black and white. That was the original printing, the first edition. What a lot of people don't understand is that they numbered them. And they have numbers on the inside pages.
Makes it easy. Yeah.
It makes it real easy just to see if it's real or not. So those are things that are inside info, and it's just a question of, okay, well, where did they write it? Well, there's certain things you don't give away. and it's been that way with comic books, and especially the indie comic books, especially. One of the things that's really being counterfeited nowadays are older baseball cards, like the 1952 top set, because it's Mickey Mantle's rookie card. Well, the number 1 card in that set is actually the second highest selling card in that set. Because if you'll think back to the 1950s and below, what did kids do with their baseball cards? They would put them in order, out, sequential order, 1 through whatever, and then they'd take and they'd wrap them with a rubber band. So a lot of the number 1 cards in those sets are no good because they're bent by the rubber bands. It's the same way with the final card.
And being on the top, you'd be exposed to the band more. Yeah.
And the sunlight, wet, wind, humidity, everything. So there's so many different things just to collecting, which I would love to tell any of the people that are getting these Battle Bunny cards. You need to think about how you're going to keep them. Are you going to display them? Are you going to put them into holders? If you do put them into holders, are you putting them into plastic sleeves first, then into the hard case? Are you putting them into plastic sleeves and then into one-off solid cases, because you can get the solid cases for the really expensive ones? What are you doing just to protect your investment? Because if you're buying just to play them, okay, great. But are you going to buy a set just to keep for your collection? Because you need to think about those things as right as well. And once you have them in those cases, what are you keeping them in? Are you keeping them in a safe? Are you keeping them somewhere above, like a flood level, like up on a shelf? Like, like I
That's
keep
what I was
mine.
just thinking. I never even thought about that until you said it,
Yeah.
Lord. Is like, what if they're on the windowsill? They're going to be exposed to the sun and all. Like,
Sunlight.
are they going to get 2 o'clock
Degradation.
sun because they're on your? That's
So, those are all things that people do not think about whenever they're buying into things like the Battle Bunnies. And they might be buying in just to play them, but I know that some of those cards are going to be kept back. You as a collector coming into the Battle Bunnies, if you're going to be collecting them, you need to think about how you're going to protect your investment. The sleeves, the holders, are you going to keep them in a safe? Because I keep all of my expensive stuff in a safe, and it's a water and a fireproof safe. That's where I have things like my Wolverine series that's signed, all of my X-Men that are all signed, all of my one-of-one art from people like Chris Claremont, John Byrne, I've got
Well,
some
I'm
of
going
the
to stop
stuff
you.
from
I'm going to
Stan
stop you real
Lee.
quick there, Lord, and tell you,
Yeah.
I've got some Battle Bunnies TCG cards that were played
Mhm.
in the final by
Mhm.
the runner-up. Like,
Well,
and that's they might have a little bit of sweat on
Okay.
them, so the wear and tear might be there. But I've got and for me, one day I'm going to be saying this story probably in 20 years' time, saying I've got
20
the
years
exact.
from now,
Yeah.
those cards, if Battle Bunnies becomes half as big, let's say they just become as big as Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh cards can sell for upwards of $5,000 each. And if they're championship game used cards, like say from the first ever championship, those cards are going to be at a premium. I mean, they are going to bring top dollar whenever it comes to actual value. And people like you might hit a hard time where you might have to sell one or two of them. And that's where that provenance that I was talking about comes in. And it's people like me that can go back and say, yeah, we can prove because there's videos, pictures of them being played. Pictures are very important. If you're holding something and you say, yeah, that's me holding that card, that's a provenance. And those are things that collectors really don't give a whole lot of thought to whenever it comes to collecting collectible card games or anything. That's why the videos nowadays of the people doing the pack breaks, that's why those videos get millions of views, is because they have provenance. They are showing it being ripped from the pack. There's the card. There it is, a picture. Boom, it's right there. Instantaneous provenance. It came from this pack out of this box.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah, you and my brother would have a great conversation about card collecting. He's he is a dealer. Like he goes around and buys collections. He collects all the he collects pre-tops, like 1980s, like I think once that like a whole flood of cards came into the market in the 80s.
1986.
Yeah. So
Flair, and
pre-86
Tops.
is his pre-86 is his like his collection range, and he has a whole bunch of very, very, very expensive cards, like because he goes around and just like he goes to shows, he has booths at shows, and like he started out doing this like 25 years ago just as like kind of a hobby. But we collected when we were kids, and we were the kids that were ruining cards by rubber banding them, and but now he's got like serious collections, like six and seven figure. Like I don't know if he's got a 7-figure collection, but he's probably pretty close. Like because I don't know that he has any of those like $1 million cards. Like he doesn't have a Wagner or something like something like that. But he's got some really old, like lots and lots of 50s, and he does complete sets. Like he puts sets together. And like you guys would have a great conversation. But I was the comic book kid. He was the baseball card kid. So we both had our little collections, and he kept on it and I stopped. I stopped comic book collecting when I was like 19 years old. Like when you sold yours, I stopped completely and just put them away.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I still kick myself, but at the time I thought it was the right thing to do because I was in the United States Navy. I was married. And whenever I first went to move them and I looked and I seen how many I had, because I had 2 10x10 storage lockers that were filled just with the white comic book boxes. Oh, wow. So I had a collection that was probably well over 800,000 at the time.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
At the time,
I sold them for pennies, and I sold them for pennies on the dollar. I had the full run of X-Men, the full run of Avengers, multiple copies of the Incredible Hulk number 161. I can see by your guys' faces you have no idea what that one is. It's the first ever appearance of Wolverine. I had 10 copies of that I had bought and put together. I had multiple copies of X-Men 1, X-Men 94. It just.
Yeah. I was a casual collector compared to.
Well, I like baseball cards. I'm all about the baseball cards. Pre-war. I love pre-war stuff. I have a whole bunch of pre-war stuff.
Well, in 1985, while I was in high school, and I co-started the actual comic book shop with my buddy because he was the one that was over 18, so all the licensing was all in his, name and everything. We used to go around and we would carry $3,000 in cash on us at all times. So if we got a phone call and we needed to go and we needed to view a collection, if we wanted to buy the collection, we had cash on us right then and there. So once the girls figured out that I was a 15-year-old with a car and $3,000 in cash, then I became quite cute.
Man of means. Man of means.
Yeah.
We definitely know 4 women were suckered into that. They surely found out the real reason and legged it. Joking, Lord. That was a perfect pun for a 4-way
Thank
smile.
you, Lord.
Yeah, can you even believe that I'm 55?
Wow.
Young man.
Yeah, compared
And
to
still
my
have
dad.
plenty of energy.
Oh yeah. I go out and I drive a truck.
BBS and I are up there with you. Like,
Yeah.
we're young men too. Lord L's the baby.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's the
what's
ginger.
that? The ginger.
This is a real life pickle pass. I don't know if it's focusing very well.
Oh yeah. And Lord L, I have a question for you.
I don't have one.
Mine's clear.
I'm getting one soon, though. I'm getting one in a couple of months.
Lord L, where have
The
you
answer is
been?
very soon. Very soon. I knew the answer already had planned. Obviously there was a lot of lemons thrown my way in this last month. But rest assured, the lemons have been juiced. I don't know if that's a thing, but let's just roll with that. The lemons have been juiced, and man, but I thought the exact same thing. As soon as I seen you, I already thought, and I knew it was coming because there is a lot of things that I've rugged on. L rug obviously, but there is a lot of things I've rugged on lately that I really need to get back into, and one of them is hitting up my boy AJ. So there's so many different, and obviously yours, Galaban. I'm super keen to that, and I know I'm going to have 2 full weeks of free time coming up. That's for sure. So I'm going to have plenty of time to get my. But I definitely wanted to put one of these up just because I don't know if the QR still works on these. So
Yeah,
definitely
they will.
give it a shot. See if you can pause on screen and see if there's anything good there.
So to go back to the original question of when I started playing poker, yeah, I was 13 and 14 whenever I actually started playing for cash. A little bit more into that story after I got discharged from the Navy whenever I was 20 because I shattered both my legs in the Navy in an accident. So I was medically discharged. I went back out and I was living in Northern California. And of course, Reno was only 20 minutes away from where I lived. So I was 20 years old, but I looked older with my beard on. So I was going into the Cal Neva Casino from the time I was 20 and a half. Well, I was actually going in whenever I was 19, but I got caught.
Don't try this at home, anyone. Do your own research, non-financial advice.
I started going into the Cal Neva whenever I was 20 and a half, and I basically was using a fake ID. And the Cal Neva poker room in the early 90s, there was a multitude of different cash games. They had the Texas Hold'em, then they had Pot Limit Omaha, they had Omaha High-Low, and they had a horse table and stud tables. There was probably 20 poker tables in the poker room at that time. And I wanted to start playing full time because I had nothing better to do because I was still recouping from my broken leg. So I started playing on the no limit tables, and I wanted to learn all of the other games that I had a taste of, but I didn't really know how to play them very well, like Raz, 2 to 7 low ball, things like that. The actual hidden games of poker, because I wanted to learn how to play horse properly, because all of the older guys, the guys that were 40 years and older, they all played at the horse table, and you had to have $500 to sit down at the horse table. There was only nine seats, and it would actually switch down to 6 seats whenever they would play stud. because there's only 54 cards in a deck, 52 that are usable. And if you deal out 6 people 7 cards, you can't deal out 7 people 7 cards because it's 49 cards. So whenever they went to the stud, you had to kick 2 people off of the table. So they would run six people tables most of the time, but there would be two tables playing at the same time. So in order to get on those tables, I had to prove my chops. I had to run my bankroll and put in X number of hours playing on the crap tables, as they put it, playing against all of the pug players, playing against the people that were coming in visiting Reno, and cut my chops there and prove to them that I deserved to learn from them how to play the other games, Raz, Omaha High-Low, Stud, by their rules. So in order to cut myself, I had to put in long hours, and I did. And whenever I turned 21, I actually became a paid shill for the Calneva, holding games up whenever it got low, like it from about 11 o'clock until 5 o'clock in the morning. So I would put in 12-hour days, and I did that for about 2 or 3 months until I got really good. And then on January 1st of 1992, I decided that I wanted to go to college. So I took $5,000 and I decided that I was going to play for a whole year just to see if I could cut it. And I took $5,000 and I ramped it up to $180,000 in 1 year time period with my bankroll. I cashed out January 1st of 1993 and I went to college.
Wow.
Nice.
And so I can technically say, yes, I was a professional poker player for an entire year. I've been to WESOP. I have never cashed, unfortunately, because I really didn't put in the actual time that was needed to get good enough to play against those guys. Because playing against people in Reno and playing in the side games is not the same as playing against professionals that do it day in, hours a day, 5 days a week. It's just not the same competition, because as good as I think I am, people like Danny, people like Phil, people like, well, Phil Hellmuth and Phil Locke, both.
Yeah, not the BBS Phil, just to clarify.
Yeah. Howard Letterer is one of my friends, and what happened to him was just horrible with the whole full tilt thing. But I mean, those are guys that I used to play against day in and day out whenever I would go down to Vegas. And I still get invited back to Vegas now just to play.
It's really good to hear your story and get to know you a bit more, because it definitely adds to your provenance now too, because not all of us knew all these things about you. You know, we just thought, oh, this dude's just good at math. You know, no, like this has been a life journey. Like, it's literally built you into the Galaban you are.
Well, like I've shared with some of the people, I have played in world championships in poker, in 8-ball with the Billiards Congress of America at the Riviera. I have played in the World Championships of darts in 501 and in cricket both. I have played in the World Championships of cribbage in Quincy, California. I still want to play in the World Championships of Gin Rummy, just because I promised Stu Unger that I was going to do that. Because if we didn't, I
was gonna say, if we didn't know your story that you told us previously about your family and life, we would have gone like, this dude obviously spends a lot of time at the pub because he's good at darts, he's good at pool, he's good at poker. He's just been hustling people from 21 and a half by the sounds of it in the back alleys. Like, yeah, let's go some Texas Hold'em, and then taking everyone's pots somehow. Because so it's really good to paint a different picture now.
Yeah. A poker is just a small portion of my life. I do so many.
I don't know, like I said, I've just recapped it again, but it's like, how can you be at a world champion level in darts, and then you go to pool, which is totally different, and then you go to like poker and billiards, and they're all totally different. Like, but the one common denominator is you can find them at the pub. So obviously, you're gonna have that thought.
Well, I can I'm actually a proficient in both plastic tip and in steel tip both. I can play both well. I play steel tip better because I use 23 ounce, and in my plastic I use 14 ounce.
You're already leagues above it. I don't even know what you're talking about. Plastic tip what? Are we talking about pool cues or we like
darts?
Is it darts?
Like
darts.
Oh, okay, sweet.
My pool stick, my dad bought for me on my 18th birthday, which I graduated boot camp on my 18th birthday, and my present was a brand new custom made pool stick for me with the case and everything. So while I was in my training, I had my own pool stick instead of just using a barroom pool stick. And I was good before just using a barroom pool stick. And then whenever you put a custom made pool stick in my hand, I became lethal quickly.
Are there levels in pool? Like, are there like 1 to 15? Okay, so I was talking to somebody about that earlier, maybe even earlier this week, and they were like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." I'm like, "Okay, so you're telling me you play pool? Not I'm talking to this other person. I'm like, you're telling me that you play pool all the time, and this is the first time you're hearing about me talking about levels." Mm-hmm. I'm like, all right, well, let's talk about something else, because you just killed that for me. Like, so you confirming that just tells me, like,
There are two major associations with amateur pool. You have the American Pool Association, which is what I consider slop pool. Okay, they play slop pool. Then you have the Billiards Congress of America. That's the level that is where all the big guys play. You have to call your shots. You have to call your banks. You have to call your double kisses. You have to call a break 8. You have to call a break 9. You have to call everything. And the type of people that I played with, you broke. And if you didn't make a ball, you weren't getting to the table again.
You're done.
And I've played in both
back.
of them.
Yeah, that's great.
Back in the mid 90s, the Riviera, they would have the Billiards Congress of America in May, and it was for usually three weeks, because you had the 5 team, you had the 9 team, and then you had the singles, and those would all go on over a 3-week period in May, and then the APA would have their championships at the end of June going all the way through July, because there's roughly at the World Championships for the APA, you've got usually anywhere between 20 to about 26,000 teams for the APA championships. For the BCA, you're lucky if you see 500 teams, because of the level of play is just so much different. And to qualify into the BCA, you have to win one of the regional championships. And it is hard. It is hard to get there in the singles. It's even harder to get there in the teams. And I made it in both.
That's awesome.
Well, we know who to look out for now when we're playing in the tavern. So
yeah, I'm not so I just like to play a little bit. I can beat my friends. That's about it. I can't beat anybody else. I did notice that you are a Dark Dragon holder, so congratulations with that.
Yes.
And now hearing your background with history, with your with collecting, I'm wondering if that tied into your decision to pick up Dark Dragon.
I was actually going to buy into the last mint, but I was driving, and with me being back out over the road driving, which that's a whole nother part of the story as to why I drive, which I guess I really haven't even told you guys what I did back in 2008 that allows me to be able to do all of the different things that I do easily.
Yep.
In 2008, I took $5,000 again, and I invested into the stock market, and I turned $5,000 into 3.8 million through the crash of March of 2008, because I was flipping AIG, Ford, Netflix, Bank of America, and a few others. And That's what allows me to live comfortably now. So getting back to the Dark Dragons, I've been meaning to actually buy into the project, but I know as a collector that I can't walk into any of these projects and just simply buy up the entire project because it'll tank the project. You have to allow growth. You can buy in for maybe 2%, 1%, but you have to allow more of the community to buy in to where the community itself grows the whole project. So I've been loath to buy into either project big time. Jake from State Farm is a perfect example. He's been buying hundreds of the Dead Poker Society. Well, that takes away somewhat from other holders that might want to buy in, because certain people will not buy into projects if they see too much of the percentage being held by one person, because it looks like one person could just dump on the project. So I've been meaning to buy one of the Ghost Bunnies. I've been meaning to buy into this, meaning to buy into that, but I want to buy in at a discount because I'm a collector. So I constantly am looking for that edge. Well, I finally got tired, and whenever Frank and Krista said that this was the final of that, I went, I've got to buy one. And of course, the mint went off as I was driving back through Kansas back to Pueblo, Colorado. And I literally pulled over on the side of the road, and I'm sitting there going, come on. And I managed to get number 598. I had no idea what it was going to be. I had no idea if it was going to have any extra things. I just knew that I wanted one, because I'll buy something off of the secondary market, but with the way that Frank has made all of these dragons, where he has designed them, where he has painted them, he's did the pencil drawings, and then he's did the painting on the computers and stuff like that. They're all so unique. And I don't want to go in and buy somebody's dragon that they might love, because that's not right. I know as a collector, if I put something up for sale, I'm going to put it up for so much that nobody's going to want to buy it. Like with what I do with a lot of my other collectibles. I make it so outrageous that if you want to buy it from me, it's going to cost you, plain and simple. So, I'm just making sure of that. And I want it to only buy mints right in the Battle Bunnies, because I don't just want to walk in it and, just start buying everything, because that just wouldn't be right. It wouldn't be right to the community. It wouldn't be right to Frank and Krista that are trying to build this thing from the ground up.
I love your sentiment that you're going with there, but man, if it's on the open sea and there's an ETH marker there, mate, she is open game.
Yeah, but that's just the way that I feel.
Chances are, if you love it, Lord, chances are I love it even more, so I'm buying it. So yes, someone might love it, but they obviously don't love it too much, as much if they're going to list it. So if it's
not financial advice,
but some people might be just needing money, so it might be something like that. And
I too have been in that position before too. So I mean, I fully understand, but I'm also been in the other position too, where because I missed out on the last mint as well, because it minted out so quick, and because of my time frame and my slackness. Because I'm going to take a bit of accountability as well, being slack on the mark. And then I was lucky enough to get one from someone that lapped up a couple and was happy to get rid of one. But again, like I was so grateful, so thankful that I had that opportunity. But I was the same boat as you, man. I can't not miss this situation, and I collected all the other 4 as well. So it was like I have to get this last one no matter what. It's a necessity. It's not a thing that can be like, this is what I've been living for the last 2 years. That's what it feels.
Yeah, see, and I'm brand new to the Battle Bunnies, so I know that there's going to be more. I know that there's going to be more books. I know there's going to be more volumes. I have plenty of time. I've got all the time in the world, so I'm not in no hurry. And I love the growth. I love seeing all the new owners. I love seeing the people that are coming in, that are buying into it, and the people at the conventions that are coming and seeing the game being played. Those are going to become holders. At some point, those numbers will transfer over into holders of the NFTs.
For the new numbers. for the new numbers that will be coming, what advice can you give to them joining, say, the Bunnies or even Dead Poker? What advice can you give to them? I'm sure they would have got a little bit of advice from you already with the way like you said, take your time, you jump in. But what you got any advice for some new people jumping in?
Buy in small. Make sure that you like the project. Come in, get into the Discord, get to know people. Let people know your name. Learn the game. Download the actual file that has all of the cards on it. Go over the cards, print them out, cut them up on right on a piece of paper after you print them all out. Learn the cards, learn what the move sets are, learn how they work together. Go in and be a fly on the wall during the games. Watch the games, learn the lingo that people are using, learn all the backstory to the Battle Bunnies. Get to know Frank, get to know Krista just by listening to them. Don't just walk in and think you're going to be gung-ho Johnny on the spot and you're going to be number one. No, it's not going to happen. People have history on you. They are going to know how to play the game better. But if you want to learn how to play the game, if you love playing Magic, if you love playing Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all of the things that a lot of the people that are in their 20s, in their 30s, in their 40s, we're all old enough now to where we can remember the beginnings. I can remember buying my first ever Magic cards. It was a case of Alpha in 1995.
Wow.
It's just one of those things, and I've got it sitting back there. You want to talk? Yeah, but
man. I know we could
buy in small. Poker players now with the Dead Poker Society, you can come in. If you miss the mint, the bashes are 3 months long. You can get the April and the May for maybe 20 Matic, or get a May for maybe 25 Matic. So you're spending 45 in Matic and you get to play in 32 tournaments guaranteed. All of the Tuesdays, all the Thursdays, all the Fridays, and all the Saturdays. And most of the poker players that are joining in, they already know how to play poker. They have that understanding. Granted, we get one or two brand new people. That's great. We can teach people too, because I have the ability. I have the classes that are already online. I have done the videos. People can watch the videos. People can read books. There's just so many ways that you can learn how to play poker, but it's the communities that make the projects. The Green Visor Gang has a very tight-knit community. The Dead Poker Society has a very tight-knit community. The Battle Bunnies, everybody knows them. It's the same way with the Heroes of Herath. Any of the main big projects, Yuga Labs, the Seals, all of these projects are all so amazingly just with the communities. So get to know your community. And that's the best way in which to get into any of the projects. If you like what you see, learn about it first. Get to know everybody first. Make sure that you're going to be a fit into that community, because some people, they just don't fit, or they might think that they like the game, but they really don't. What I hate to see are the people that will buy into the mint and then sell because it's not making them any money. Well, that's not what it's about. The NFTs are simply placeholders. It's the same way with the DPS. They aren't meant to be collectibles. Granted, we're going to try to make them collectibles, but they're not meant to be that. They are subscription NFTs. But the Battle Bunnies, they are actual usable. They are the pictures that are on the cards. And I know we've been going like mad, and I've just been jabber-jawing away.
No, I think that's the whole point. You are the star of this show.
We're highlighting you, so yeah, that's good.
And we can all talk like this forever. And this is why we are here. This is why we're doing what we're doing, is because we do this behind the scenes as it is. We do this on the back end, or what I know apparently I said back end a lot. But we do this all the time, every day anyway. So it's good to showcase it. And it was very informative for us, because we got to learn a lot about you. Like, we didn't realize you were as a pro as what you are now. Like, going on the list now to one to watch, even though you've always given that vibe because of how we've seen you play, but now it's even more knock him out ASAP. and like you said, we could
here's even a little more. I have national championship trophies from BMX racing, from bowling, from of course my pool career. I've done so many different things in my life. I've lived a full life, and I'm only 55
On another
years old.
note, Lord Galaban is now going to be banned from any community activity, any community event. He will definitely be affiliated with it because he's going to be one of our advisors or something. But if anyone is listening in power, block Lord Galaban in every. Nah, man. Like again, it was seriously an honor to have you here, man. And what you do for the communities you've been a part of, like what you do for DPS. No one hit you up and said, "Yo, do you want some money to do this?" You've just done all this for the passion and for the love, and obviously knowing the potential of DPS, and and it's so good to hear you're a holder with us too, and it just solidifies more and more every day why we do this stuff. Hearing from the stories from you guys, hearing the story from everyone that comes up, and if you haven't come up there, we'd definitely love to have you, and we're definitely going to be getting you back, Lord Galaban, because now that we've got all this new information. I've seen DPS writing a lot of stuff down, so the questions are going to be piling up. So I'm sure we've already got loads more new questions to ask you, but we're getting north of an hour, man. So we're
we could literally do episodes on me playing in Magic tournaments, regional tournaments. We could do episodes on me playing in pool tournaments, racing BMX bikes. That'll be an entire thing all on its own, because I started racing BMX bikes just to get my legs built back up. And I ended up becoming so damn good that I got sponsored by Redline Bikes. And by
I was going to say, we should create our own new mint of some type, and it'll be what we want Lord Galaban to become a professional in, and we'll all basically crowdfund it by all doing a mint, and it's going to be something crazy. Like, we want Lord Galaban to bring us a gold medal in swimming or something. Next minute, here's Lord Galaban, like, on the podium, 50-something years old, everyone, and he just, man, it's been a pleasure, man. It's absolutely, I've had this like a smile this whole time, and if I haven't, I've been trying to work out what you're saying.
One of the funniest things is whenever I first started coming into Web 3, Web 2, Web 1, there was a few people that called me a bullshit artist until I started taking pictures of all my trophies and all my stuff. And a lot of the trophies have my name on them. And I've never been afraid to use my real name. Everybody knows that I use it on X. It's Doug McMahon. I'm very easy just to find. Punch in Lord Galaban into Google. I'm everywhere. It's everywhere. It's under.
We only think you're a because we're jealous, mate. I've been trying these things for years and I still can't get it. So you're not allowed to touch the TCG, Lord. I don't know what's going on, man.
You know what, El? That is what I told Frank. I told Frank, trust me, you do not want me putting myself into this game full time, because I know what my brain will do. It will look at me and it will go, you have to become the best at this too. And
we'll put it in the comments, guys. If we get like 100 comments or something on here, we are getting Lord Galaban to the top of that championship to contest.
You're gonna be world champions of TCGs, the Scyther Chronicles. If we get 100 comments, you have to come start playing against Tony Pepperoni and Drywall and Handbear. And
trust me, it'll only be a matter of time, Brian. It would only be a matter of time before I'm just as good as everybody else.
I can already see the comments. Put your money where your mouth is, Lord. I don't know. Maybe you're going to take this.
It could be 100.
You know what?
I think that's exciting. Like, I'm rooting for you. I know that when you get in there and you do that, like,
that's what they did here. Whenever Crypto Al brought me in last March, Crypto Al told Aaron point blank, this guy is going to beat us. He is going to win tournaments. And I came in and I went, let me be very honest. I've been a professional poker player. I know everything that there is to know about poker. And in the first week, I won 2 of the tournaments instantly, just like that. And I was like, I told you guys. I told you.
Oh man! On that note, again, like I said, it was extremely awesome to have you here.
I'm only good at like 5 things. You've blown me out of the water here.
That's why I'm trying to kick him off stage now, because I'm like, all right, let's get the hell out of here, mate. No, again, like I said, if you have anything more to say, BBS or Brian, that you want to ask Lord.
I think I'm good. All the questions I had were answered throughout. So,
Sweet. Well, we're gonna chuck you in the green room, Lord, and then say a bunch of lovely things about you. They may not be as lovely as what they were when I thought halfway through, because I don't think you need the accolades or. No, I'm joking, of course, man.
Well, if you guys
you
want
definitely
to give,
credit's where it's due, man.
give one more little tidbit, there
Would love
is
that.
an X Spaces called the VEC, and it happens Sunday through Thursdays every afternoon here in right in our time. It goes off at 3:00 my time usually, so it's 5:00 on the East Coast. I am the resident smart person on the podcast. Well, it's like a Spaces, talking Spaces.
mm-hmm.
I am known as the human AI on that space, because if there's a question about anything, I typically know the answer to it, because that's all I do is I learn. So
well, that's what we're going to do then. Let's do an old-fashioned Battle Bunnies raid on that space then, and let's try and ask Lord as many questions as we can get, and we'll show them show them the bunnies come in force. Hopefully, we can get the link to it.
The Battle Bunnies coming in together like a force.
God. Oh man, BBS, you guys would love it. You guys.
We'll try and get some links down there for everyone listening, so that way it can easily flick over, or at least if not, we'll send you in the right direction where Lord can hook you up with the link. But again, man, thanks for coming, and we look forward to hearing again from you in the future and in Discord, man.
Kick me to the back room.
Kick you in the back room.
Get out of here.
He's gone.
Wow. I honestly didn't know. Like, I knew some of those things about Lord because I spoke to him a couple of weeks back. But the fact that he has that, I say raw talent, like he was born with it, but obviously not. You still got to practice makes better. So obviously whatever he's doing is working, and his maths obviously comes definitely in hand. But to be to be in the world championships for so many different things, like it's really hard to fathom. And the fact that we've got him in the Fluffle and we've got him in the DPS where we can go and ask him some questions is super neat.
Mm-hmm. It's just amazing. I'm just impressed with one thing, the fact that he's got like multiple things. Like it's like I can't get good at any of. Well, I've never been good at any of those things. So I was trying to think. I was like, what could I be the world championship at? What could it be? I don't know. Like there's just, I aspired to be, obviously. I've been really successful in my career, but I've never been like a world champion. That just takes an elite talent. Like it's like a completely different level. Like
it's knowing it, and then there's that level of champion.
Yeah, because I guess you got that athleticness. People have that athletic ability where they can jump in and they nail like sport, and whatever sport it is, they give it at a certain level. But that is just on another level as well. Like you said, I guess that's a mental thing. There's so much involved when it comes to that. Like,
yeah, and I can see the mathematics behind DPS and the darts and the pool, like knowing your geometry, and like the physics and all that stuff. Like that's beneficial for those things. But then you add BMX into that. I was like, that's fully physical, and like he was recovering from his legs being shattered. And
that's amazing. Why everyone's like, that sounds made up. Like seriously, how the hell can someone go from the dart championship on the Monday and then on Friday he's bloody racing people on BMX and whooping them? Like, damn.
All of those things though, they have like they have focus. Yeah. They have focus, right? Mm-hmm. They have strategy. There's positions where you have to be in. Right. So BMX biking, you have to know where you are. You have to know who you're playing against. You have to know where you need to go to be the best. And I think all of these things have that through line to them. And so mathematics and reasoning and all of that's very important. But then you're right, Brian, to add the physical aspect to that, where you're telling your mind is telling your body, like, no, you're doing this. and then conditioning yourself to do that, that's very impressive. That's like I did take a little bit of time off from karate, but I've been doing it for quite some time. And there's like that mind and body togetherness that you need in order to complete all of those things. It's very unusual. It's just awesome. And then I love the whole the backstory of collecting and like how that complemented it. I thought it was fascinating. It was great. Yeah.
Well, and super humble and wanting to share his knowledge with us in some of these areas. So it's like having that as well. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna start getting up at 4 a.m. again. I just have to. I feel like I'm falling behind. Waking up at 6 or 7.
Let's do some karate classes.
Right here, this first threer, like this shirt, literally, it was when I used to get up at 4:45 every morning because I wanted 3 hours to just do my reading, my writing, and my exercise before I had to give my time to somebody else to get a paycheck. So that's what I created this whole thing around. And I've kind of let that fall by the wayside when I had my surgery. And I need to just get back on it because those 3 hours when I got to do my stuff was really cool. So he does it already. Like he's already doing that every day. And that's why he's like hours ahead of us. He's living out that, we do more before 9 a.m. before most people do all day.
It's true though. You're more creative. You have more energy. Like, and then everybody else drags you down the rest of the day. Can I have this? Can I have this? Can I have this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, stop.
I mean, how productive are we at this time of night, right? Really? Like we need to, like he's getting up in the morning when his body and mind are fresh. He's doing all that stuff, getting it done, and he talked about being disciplined and, giving himself the freedom by doing, his investing and that kind of stuff, non-financial advice. But, if you can do that and you do that early, then you can take the time like he's done since 2008 and been able to invest in other areas of his life where he's interested. So that's just all cool. I think it's just great. So glad to have Lord Galaban. Too many Lords on this show.
I know, that's what I said.
You were last week, Lord.
Lord BBS and I,
Well, you've heard it here right now, folks, from our resident champion in everything, I guess, that he does. And, if you two want to be on the show or, you two think about reach out to one of us, me, Brian or BBS. But BBS is probably the man to go to because he gets.
He's organized.
Yeah, he's got this. But thanks again, everyone, for coming. It's been an amazing show, and I made out like I was going to say something else.
Thank you, Lord Galaban. Really appreciate your time. Yeah. Just thank you.
Thank you for joining us today, Ultimate Fan. BBS, Lord L, and Brian, that's me, do hope you enjoyed today's program as much as we did, where Ultimate fans like you are the stars of the show. We'd be honored to have you join us on a future episode where you can share your story and love of the Battle Bunnies with this encouraging community. It would be the greatest compliment if you shared something you love about the Battle Bunnies on your favorite social platform today like X, Facebook, or Instagram and tagged us. Or simply use hashtag #UltimateFancast so we can recognize and celebrate with you and other super fans by sharing your post. Bonus points if you do both and use an image of one of your favorite Battle Bunnies or a screenshot of this episode. We know you share, like, and comment because you care about our fellow Ultimate fans as much as we do. Please leave comments too to let us know how we can make this the greatest fan experience for the Battle Bunnies community. This podcast is sponsored by Hairstream Media, your bunnies all the time streaming service. Okay, not really. It is just us fans like you giving some of our time to support other fans like you. Join us over in the Battle Bunnies community and Discord to continue the fun. We hope you tune in with us each week. So make it easy. Subscribe now. We'll be here to keep you hopping when you need us.